お客さん、どこに行きますか？
那覇駅にお願いします。
お、はい、ありがとうございます。
今度、お茶しませんか？
Yes。
LINE のアカウントもらってもいいですか？
いいですよ。どうぞ。
LINE 送りますね。
はい、ありがとうございます。
Feel like learning Japanese is too damn hard for you? Stop slaving away at grammar, words, and spelling. Now there's a better way to learn how to speak Japanese like a normal guy. Welcome to Terumi's podcast. Let's learn Japanese in just 2 months with Terumi's learning method.
So welcome to this Japan Language Factory YouTube video. Welcome, Jennifer. I'm so happy to have you here. So thank you so much. So Jennifer, can you actually describe yourself? Like, what do you do now, or who are you?
はじめまして、私はジョアナです。I am from Colombia and I'm currently living in Japan. I've been living in Japan for about 7 months now, so it hasn't been a long time. But I truly love living here. And I want to live here for a very long time. So I hope that that can be a future, goal of mine is to really just stay in Japan. I'm an artist. I do my own paintings.
Oh, this is your painting
Yes,
behind?
these are
Wow.
paintings. So I'm an artist, and I do work here in Japan as well. Yeah, that's pretty much a little bit about myself.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So I want to ask you a lot of questions. So maybe the first question is going to be when you arrived Japan the first day, what was like a culture shock? Do you remember like what was like a huge impact when you arrived?
There was so many, if I'm being honest. I
Mhm.
feel like I kept making mistakes. Like standing these are little things, but I felt so embarrassed
Mhm.
because it's like standing on an elevator. Everyone stands to one side of the elevator and they stand behind each other. They
Yeah.
don't stand like, two people on the elevator, they
Yeah.
stand all in one row. I
Mhm.
had no idea. So I'm standing there on the other side and people are just like looking at me like, what is she doing? And no,
You couldn't
it's
recognize
little,
like what's happening here, you know?
yes, it was little things like that, or going to the convenience store and trying to hand them my money and they weren't taking my money, and I was like, they're not, like, what's happening? They're not
Mhm.
taking my money. And
Mhm.
they like handed me the little tray, like,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I felt so embarrassed. I was like, oh, put the money in the tray.
Yeah, yeah,
Let me
yeah, 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 yeah.
it was just
Amazing.
little things like that that I was like, oh, I am so but I did notice one
Mhm.
major
Mhm.
major difference is when you said the touching,
Mm.
um that Japanese people want to be respectful and there's some people don't want to touch.
Mm.
In South America, in Colombia, and a lot of Mexico and all these other areas, we are very, when we greet people, we're very, touchy. We hug, we actually
Yeah.
kiss on both
Mhm.
sides of the cheeks. um that's a big no-no in
Yeah,
Japan.
that's true.
I had to learn quickly that I cannot do that.
Uh-huh. So in the beginning, how did you actually like greet people? Like, did you make mistake a lot? Like, people,
Yes,
oh, like,
I went to go for the hug, and then I realized people were like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh, I am so it's just habit. I'm so sorry."
Now you live in Japan. It's like, what is the actually best things in Japan?
So I think the best thing here in Japan is like the community, how
Mm.
everyone is, like you said, respectful towards each other. Everyone is always so considerate of
Mm-hmm.
everyone around them, not just themselves. I think I really love that about Japan is everyone tends to be very considerate. And everyone here in Japan is so kind, so
Mm-hmm.
kind. I've had an amazing experience in the trains. Everyone is so respectful towards elderly, towards women that are pregnant, towards just anyone who might need assistance. It's, you see it frequently where it's people just give up their seats even though they're comfortable or they might be tired from a long day of work, or the train is packed with people. And you see every day just people being like, oh, like, dozo, dozo, and they'll just be like, please, like, sit, sit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just seeing the polite, like, oh, like, thank you so much. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
they don't even know each other. They've never met. You
Mm-hmm.
can see that they're complete strangers, but they're willing to get out of their way and just help someone else out.
Mm.
And that's what I mean when I say, like, Japanese people are so kind and they're so
Mm.
considerate of other people. Whereas going back home, most people won't do that. It's just,
Mm.
everyone tends to keep their heads down.
Mm.
They're, you're in your own little world. And
Mm.
so it's there's a big difference in
Mm.
that. Seeing that, I was like, wow, like, I didn't know people did that.
Mm-hmm. So like before actually studying our like master course and start learning Japanese, like what you have tried before, like in Colombia or in the States or in Japan, did you try to study by yourself, or what kind of experience you have?
I've been here in Japan for about 7 months, and
Mm.
before moving here, I had about maybe 3 months notice that I can move here. So within about 3 months, I was starting to be like, okay, I'm gonna move to Japan. I need to prepare. I need to buy some textbooks. I need to look online. I need to try to learn as much as I can and as quickly as I can. At that point, I was already studying on my own. I was
Mm.
already doing textbook work. I used simple ones like Japanese 101,
Mm.
Japanese hiragana,
Mm-hmm.
like these, and it gives you the basic Japanese phrases,
Mm-hmm.
like, hajimemashite and gekko desu, and,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
wakarimashita, or like,
Mm-hmm.
just very basic knowledge.
Mm.
But I had an issue because I couldn't, even though I was learning and I was learning how to write hiragana and katakana, and I was learning how to read and learning vocabulary and grammar, I kept hitting a wall where
Mm.
I couldn't make sentences. I couldn't, anything I wanted to say, I couldn't say anything. I
Mm.
couldn't say a single sentence, I like this, or do you want to go out and have fun with friends, or let's meet here, or, I couldn't make a single easy, simple 3-word, 5-word sentence. So
Mm-hmm.
I was getting very discouraged. I was starting to think that maybe I have bitten off more than I can chew. There's no way I'm going to be able to learn Japanese. And I was going through online, classes with other, taking like their interview,
Mm-hmm.
and they were, I'm not saying they were wrong on the way they wanted to teach. Everyone learns differently, but they were going to give me uh basically written, more writing, more textbooks, more flashcards and things like that. And I knew that that wasn't going to work for me because I
Mm.
was already doing flashcards. I was already learning vocabulary. I was already doing the textbook stuff. And again, I couldn't speak Japanese
Mm.
at all. And
Mm.
so that's why I was like, I was so I was so nervous because I was like, the textbooks were not working. They were not
Mm.
working for me at all. So it did take me a little bit of time, to decide, it was time for me to try something new because I wasn't able to move forward with just learning Japanese through textbooks. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
able to actually learn anything, even though I was learning, I was absorbing the information. I still wasn't. I felt like I wasn't learning Japanese, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yeah. I totally understand. And then like, so you, how did you find us? Like, so you dream come true. Yes, I like Japan. I want to speak, but it's at the same time, like, what the hell? Like, I cannot speak anything. I don't know, my brain problem, or maybe should I study even harder? I'm sure you, cautious about like your potential or something. And then how did you find us?
I was definitely very discouraged. I was questioning myself too because I do study about 2 to 3 hours every day,
Wow.
and I really felt like I was giving it real effort. I was doing my best, but I still couldn't do anything. And then I was on Instagram, and I was just scrolling, just kind of that night. I was just going through Instagram like normal, and uh, your video popped up on an ad, and I had just been feeling very discouraged. So I saw it, but I just scrolled past it because I was like, I don't think online teaching is gonna be for me. I'm
Mm,
just gonna have to find something local. And
mm,
the next day, it popped up again on my
mm-hmm,
Instagram feed, and the video, it started off saying, why do you think you're not speaking Japanese? Why can't you?
mm-hmm,
And it explained how kids are learning to speak Japanese. And I was
mm,
like, yeah, growing up, I remember speaking Spanish and English, and it was easy. So I was
mm,
like, why can't I learn Japanese? So I was like,
mm-hmm,
why can't I learn that way? And
mm-hmm,
then I clicked on the video, and then that's when it went into the explanation. Kids, they don't learn grammar, and it was just
mm-hmm,
what you said. I was
mm-hmm,
like, yes, that's exactly. I was like, this is what I'm saying.
mm-hmm,
I watched the video and I was like, okay, this makes complete sense. I was like,
mm-hmm,
this is what I needed. I needed a different approach to learning Japanese. Starting the master course, I was still not 100% sure.
mm,
I'm very nervous, very shy, when it comes to speaking to people I don't know.
mm,
Um, and I was very nervous because I was afraid I was going to make a lot of mistakes. And I was thinking that, oh no, like if I make a mistake, like I'm wrong and I'm not
mm,
learning enough, or I'm not studying hard enough, or people are going to make fun of me. And
mm,
all these negative thoughts kept swirling in my head. So I was very careful, and I didn't want to, that because I didn't want to make a mistake. Um, but as I went on into the master course, it became a bit more comfortable to make
mm-hmm,
mistakes. It
mm-hmm,
was encouraged to try, and if you made a mistake, it was okay,
mm-hmm.
and
What training was most effective for you?
really the main thing that the master course on JLF strain it talks about is constantly practicing, and not
Mm,
just reading or writing. It's practice. So listening constantly to what it is that is being said, and then also repeating what it is being said. um that's the only way I think that is going to be the most effective, is
mm-hmm,
truly just giving it your all to really listen. When you actually catch the words and you go, oh, like I understand, I
mm-hmm,
know what you're saying, I know what you're asking me. And one of the things that I did was I listened to it. I listened to the audio when I sleep. I listen to audio when I'm cooking in the kitchen. I'll just be
mm,
playing, repeating the same thing, and then listening to the audio and just saying it over and over. And it worked. I was able to not even think when I needed to ask something or talk to my friends or talk to my coworkers. And I was just like, wow, like this is really happening. Like I'm
mm-hmm,
speaking Japanese. I'm understanding Japanese.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Amazing. like what was like a happiest moment, like when you see, people's reaction or some story do you have?
Yeah, so, before moving here, I decided to try language apps and make friends online to kind of meet up and see if they can help me.
Mm,
And again, it all sounds simple and easy when it's online. But the thing is, when I met these friends online and they were wonderful people, um, they had zero English communication skills. So there
mm,
was zero English, and I knew zero Japanese at that
mm,
point. So it was so difficult because we
mm,
had to use translator apps because
mm.
it was easy online because we can translate our
Yeah.
text. And it was like, there was full communication, but in person,
Mm,
it was a bit awkward, but it really changed when I finally decided to take the JLF master course and I truly started to focus on just speaking and listening. And when I met up with her in Tokyo, she was like, "What? Like, you can speak?" And I
mm-hmm,
said, I was like, "Oh, just a little, like, tsukudake." And she was
mm-hmm.
just like, "No, like, you can speak." She's like,
Wow.
you sound Japanese." And I was like, "Honto?" you
Mm,
know,
amazing.
it was that when I realized I was like, I'm speaking Japanese, I'm not just reading and writing. I'm actually understanding
Yeah.
and I'm connecting.
Thank you so much for sharing this beautiful experience. So, Jennifer, what do you think? Like, when you discouraged so much, because you
Mm.
study 2 hours every day, and you came to Japan. Now you live in Japan, but it's you really, disappointed, like actual your progress. And I'm, sure, and you know that it's a lot of people has these things right now, like in the whole world, like a lot of people actually studying, but they don't even cannot say simple, normal phrases. Do you have any like advice?
Yes, I would definitely say don't give up and definitely join join the Japanese language factory because it is I'm like you said, I've only been doing this for 2 months and it doesn't make sense to me yet. It's not real still.
Mm-hmm.
I sit down and I'm like, I really can understand and I really can speak. I'm like, there's no way that I'm actually doing this, but I am. And so my advice is just do it, take the course. It'll change your life. It will because again, it's just helped me so much and I don't think I would have ever made it this far in just the few months that I was studying and just going on the textbooks. And I was losing a lot of hope because it's so scary. It's so scary thinking, you know, I don't understand. I can't listen to it. I can't speak it. I can't read it. I can't write it. I can't. There's a lot of can't.
Mm,
And when you start getting these negative emotions in your head, it's hard to break free from it because you want to see progress and you want to progress and feel like, wow, I'm actually learning. And when I first started, again, I was very discouraged, but I didn't give up. I decided, let's do the master course, let's try it. And after that, it was easy. And it was easy because everything that the master course has to offer is things that I'm going to use every day, things that I'm going to say every day, things I'm going to hear every day. And it became easy because it's a part of my life. It's not just a textbook. It's like, wow, like I hear exactly what people are saying because I know what they're saying because I've heard it before. I've practiced it already. So I know what to say. And not giving up is definitely the biggest thing. Just don't give up. Try it. It changed everything. It changed my entire experience in Japan.
Thank you so much. Are you expat living in Japan? You started living in Japan, you're super excited to communicate with locals. You can enjoy traveling, meeting people. And now you start using this textbook and you feel like, wow, that's so many. Elementary school textbook, another elementary school textbook, and how many hours should you study? Let's think one more time. In order to communicate like a normal guy, you can do everything in the basic everyday life. Should you finish all those textbooks? Otherwise, you won't understand what they're talking. You cannot express yourself, anything. First of all, there are always two ways to learn languages. One is documentational language. The other one is conversational language. It's like, once upon a time, grandmother and grandfather are living somewhere. Or, hey, what's up? How's it going? Which is conversational. What is the most effective way to learn how to speak Japanese? Textbooks can't talk to you, so you cannot improve your listening skill and pronunciation, how to communicate. So why Japanese children can speak Japanese so quickly? Because they are learning conversational Japanese. The good news is, in Japan Language Factory, we have a specific learning structure to improve your conversational Japanese. So you can join the conversation, you can understand what they're talking, you can respond quickly, and express what you are thinking. If you want to be able to speak Japanese as soon as possible, join our free consultation to figure out what is the fastest way to start speaking Japanese.